Welcome Low V Gamers. Today we're going to be going over a deck that I've built in the past. It's an X-Saber deck, one of my favorite decks to play, still is. Main focus of this deck is to just combo out a bunch of monsters at once to be able to have a big attacking line. With that, you should be able to synchro summon into some guys to help clear out your opponent's spell and trap zone, and then be able to just hit their life points directly. Typically, in the past, I've been able to win within 2 or 3 turns as long as the combo's there. Otherwise, it can take a little bit longer, but it's pretty easy to get going once you get going here. So to start off, we have one of each of the following. We got Dark Bribe. So when an opponent's spell or trap card is active, negate the activation, destroy it, and your opponent draws a card. So just to help keep your combo going. The next card we got is Mirror Force. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. So that's really nice if they happen to be able to attack, take out all their attack position monsters at once. Pretty handy there. We got Scrap Iron Scarecrow. Activate only when an opponent's monster declares an attack. Negate the attack and set this card face down. Again, instead of sending it to the graveyard. So this is really nice. So if you do end up getting attacked, you could just kind of have this bounce their attack and continuously do that. So that's there again, just to kind of help keep us alive and keep that combo going. We got Threatening Roar. Your opponent cannot declare an attack during this turn. There again, this is just stuff to help keep us in control. As far as the spells, we got Dark Hole. Destroy all monsters on the field. If for whatever reason they get ahead, you can just wipe the board and get building up again. Lightning Vortex, same kind of a thing, is discard 1 card from your hand, destroy all face-up monsters on your opponent's side of the field. This is a nice little hit towards them. Plus it gets some monsters in your graveyard, which this deck can kind of combo off of. So that's always handy as well. Mind Control. I typically will use this one to grab a monster if I need to synchro summon with something and have a tuner but nothing else. Also, if they have something big, you can just take it from them real quick. Take control of 1 monster your opponent controls until the end phase. It cannot declare an attack or be tributed, but still can be synchro summoned. It can also be used for fusions if you have fusions in your deck. The next card we got, Swords of Revealing Light. Flip all monsters your opponent controls face up. This card remains on the field for 3 turns. 3 of your opponent's turns. While this card is face up on the field, monsters your opponent control cannot declare an attack. So this is pretty nice as far as there again, if for whatever reason they have the upper hand, you can take a couple turns to hopefully get back up and get what you need. Next is we got the XX-Saber Ragigura, I believe is his name. Ragigura. Anyway. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 X-Saber monster from your graveyard to your hand. So like I said, with Lightning Vortex, you could discard, you could bring them back. It's also a 1-star monster, which will work with some of our tuners to be able to pull out the lower end tuners as well as some of the higher end synchros. Once we get going there. We got X-Saber Airbellum. 3-star tuner. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. So he's a nice little guy to throw out there, kind of help control what they have going on by making them discard cards. Next up, we got our cards that we have 2 of in the deck. We got Starlight Road. This one's very nice to keep things on your side of the field safe from mass wipes, and it helps and it will allow you to bring out Starlight Dragon, which is always a nice card to have. Activate only when an effect is active that would destroy 2 or more cards you control. Negate the effect and destroy the card. Then you may special summon one Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. So that's pretty nice to be able to get an extra monster out, to be able to combo with there as well. I am running 2 of them because there's a lot of board wipes out there, and I find just nice to have, makes a higher chance of getting it. The next card we got is Saberhole. Activate only when you control a face-up X-Saber monster, and negate the summon of a monster and destroy it. Oftentimes I found this to be able to stop your opponent from being able to combo off and get some big monster that could cause some issues for you. That one there again is just like I said, this is mostly to control their side of the field and get big monsters out yourself. Next we got Gottoms Emergency Call. Activate only if there is a face-up X-Saber monster on the field. Select 2 X-Saber monsters in either player's graveyard. Special summon those monsters to your side of the field. So that's really nice. It plays well with other X-Sabers because it doesn't matter if the X-Saber is on your side of the field or not. As long as there's a face-up X-Saber, you can use it. So if you are up against another Saber deck, this can come in handy, especially with being able to pull them. The nice thing, there's not really a restriction with the special summons here, so you can special summon some of your bigger X-Sabers that hit the graveyard, whether that's Synchros or, sorry, not Synchros, but if that's like Fulhelm or Faultroll, you can bring them back too. Next up, we got Desynchronization. I like using this one in combination with Hyunlei. You'll see in a minute why as we go over that card. But it says select 1 face-up synchro monster, return it to the owner's extra deck. Then if all of the monsters that were used for the synchronization or the synchro summon of that monster are in your graveyard, you can special summon them. Part of the reason I like this here is because it allows me to use some of the effects of the monsters that I have already used beforehand, because it brings them back, special summons them to the field. So if you have Faultroll out in the field, he can be special summoned, and then you can use him to call another X-Saber out, so you can keep that process going. This is also nice to be used for if your opponent gets a big synchro out that you just don't really have a good answer for. You can use this to send it back, and they won't get their cards back since it's not in your graveyard. Next we got Saber Slash. Destroy a number of face-up cards on the field equal to the number of face-up attack position X-Saber monsters you control. So this I often will use to take out spells and trap cards on the field that the opponent has, just to get rid of any surprises that might happen. Next, and this is one that is very variant for people. I run it because I like the effects on it, and it doesn't really affect me that much just because I usually don't have defense position earth monsters. But we got Clear World. I use it for multiple reasons. One, it gives us a world card or stadium card. I totally forgot, blanking on the name. Anyway, it lets us bring this out so that we can wipe out any cards that the opponent has as far as the stadium cards are concerned. It says during each of your end phases you have to pay 500 life, so you could choose to keep it up or not. If you do pay that 500 life though, each player receives, so if you do end up keeping this card up here with this here, each player receives certain effects depending on the monster attribute they control. If they control a light monster, they play with their hand revealed at all times, so there are a lot of light decks out there. So I like to use this just because then you get to see what they got. For dark, if you control 2 or more monsters, you cannot declare an attack Earth, during your standby phase, destroy one face-up defense position monster you control. Most of the time with the X-Saber deck, you will not have a defense position monster. If it's a water, during the end phase, discard a card. Fire, during the end phase, take 1,000 damage. Wind, you must pay 500 life to activate a spell. So there's lots of nice effects there. If you're playing a multi-attribute deck against one, it can really hurt them a lot. Causes grief for them, so I like to have it in the deck there. Next up, we got the cards that we have 3 of in the deck. No, sorry, not 3 of. We're still on the 2 of here. We're on the monsters though. We got XX-Saber Emmersblade as the next one. He's going to be a level 3 for us. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower X-Saber monster from your deck. Oftentimes we'll put him in face down defense position so that when he flips and is destroyed, activates his effect. They don't really see it coming. Allows you to pull out your level 4s, which is pretty nice there. Next we got XX-Saber Gardestrike. And with Gardestrike, he's pretty nice, especially if you have X-Sabers in your graveyard and not on the field, because you can just special summon him. If you have 2 or more X-Saber monsters in your graveyard, you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Oftentimes, if I have in my hand, I'll use that special summon if I have nothing on the field, and then play my normal summon as well. It really combos off well if you have the Boggart Knight, because then you can normal summon 1 monster to special summon 2 that turn, so you get 3 monsters, and oftentimes you can combo that into 7 or 8 monsters depending on your hand, which is really nice when it happens. Next we got X-Saber Pashuul. I personally enjoy Pashuul. I think he's a pretty solid character as far as keeping you alive too. He is a level 2 tuner, so he will work with your level 3 X-Sabers to be able to synchro into 5s pretty easily, which is the main reason we have 2 in our deck. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card is in face-up defense position, you take 1,000 damage during each of your opponent's standby phases. So he will make it so that your life points are safe, but you'll either take a bunch from him having very little attack, or 1,000 during the standby phase. But there again, where he is a level 2 tuner, you can pretty quickly get out a couple synchros with him. So usually you don't have to pay that 1,000, but it's not bad to have to pay that 1,000 maybe one time and then get rid of him the next if it saves you 4,000 life points. Next up, we got all the monsters that we have 3 of. These are going to be the key monsters and the key components to this deck, as far as being able to keep it rolling and make sure you stay on top of things. To start off, we got XX-Saber Darksoul. He's one of the key components to the deck. He allows you to search and pull other X-Sabers out of your deck as he is removed. During the end phase, if this card was sent from your side of the field to your graveyard this turn, you can add 1 X-Saber monster from your deck to your hand. This is pretty nice. I know a while back they did change the ruling on it as they reprinted it and made it clear that it was 1 time per Darksoul that you've sent to the graveyard. Because beforehand you could run like 1 of these and then filter him in and out of the graveyard 4 times during a turn and pull 4 monsters. But now they have limited it to 1 monster per Darksoul per turn. So that's one reason we're running 3, so that we can pull 3 monsters potentially per turn as needed. Next up, we have X-Saber Fulhelmknight. He's going to keep us safe each turn, which is really nice here. When your opponent declares an attack, you can select the attacking monster and negate the attack. You can only activate this effect once while he remains face up on the field. He will filter in and out of the graveyard quite often, and where we're running 3, we'll almost always have one ready to be able to negate an attack if needed. If this card destroys a defense position monster your opponent controls by battle, you can select a level 4 or lower X-Saber monster from your graveyard and special summon it. That effect doesn't happen as often, but when it does, it's nice because you can pull another monster back from your graveyard. He is a level 3 tuner as well, and so he is going to be quite handy when it comes to special summoning the different monsters. Next up, we got Boggart. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 lower X-Saber monster from your hand. This card cannot be used as synchro monster material except for synchros for an X-Saber monster. So this one, often you'll either be pulling a 6 or 7 star just because he is 4 himself. He's also used a lot to get Gottoms, XX-Saber Gottoms out, because Gottoms I believe is 9, so if you have 2 of these in a 1 or whatever combo to get that, you can. The next guy that we have is going to be the big engine, at least for this deck, is Faultroll. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except while you control 2 or more face-up X-Saber monsters. Once per turn, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower X-Saber monster from your graveyard. So there again, this is just where we want to have stuff in the graveyard. Monster-wise, we keep bringing them back, keep synchro summoning, get a big monster board presence. Next, we're going to go over the extra deck. Inside of the extra deck, we have TG Hyper Librarian, which is 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. When a monster is synchro summoned to draw a card, this card must be face up on the field to activate and to resolve this effect. So he won't get it off of himself, but any synchro you do afterwards, you can get it for. So I like to have at least 1 in the deck just in case I want to do that. Naturia Beast I found to be really nice in the deck because it is Earth Tuner and 1 non-Earth Tuner, where this is a full Earth deck. It works. While this card is face up on the field, you can send the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard to negate the activation of a spell card and destroy it. Which is, it's the top 2 cards of your graveyard, of your deck. So this one helps get cards in your graveyard so you can special summon them again, as well as helps control what your opponent can do. On top of that, we also got Naturia Barkion, which is kind of the same kind of a concept here. Earth Tuner, non-Earth Tuner. While this card is face up on the field, you can remove from play 2 cards in your graveyard to negate the activation of 1 trap card. So him and Barkion and Naturia Beast go really well together because one will drop cards to the graveyard, the other one can remove it, so you can keep control of the board in that aspect where they just can't outplay spells and traps because you always have stuff in the graveyard and you still have your deck. We got X-Saber Souza next. This guy, he's got a couple effects here that are pretty good. He takes 1 tuner, 1 non-X-Saber tuner. During your main phase, you can tribute an X-Saber monster to choose one of the following effects. This card gains that effect until the end phase. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, destroy that monster without damage calculation, and then this card cannot be destroyed by the effects of a trap card are the 2 options. So either damage is negated and you just destroy the monster, or he can't be destroyed by a trap card. So he's just pretty nice to be able to have out there. A good staple is Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon takes 1 tuner and at least 1 other non-tuner. When this card is synchro summoned, you can destroy all cards on the field. Once per turn, you can remove from play 1 plant type monster from your graveyard to change 1 monster your opponent controls to face up attack position and reduce its attack to 0 until the end of the turn. So a good strong card to help wipe out the field if you're getting behind and keep things going. Here we have Stardust Dragon, which usually you won't be synchroing for him, but you'll be pulling him with Starlight Road. And then you contribute this card to negate the effect, the activation of a spell card, trap card, affect monster's effect that destroys a card on the field, and destroy the card. If you negate an effect this way, you can special summon this card from your graveyard during the end phase. So allows him to just keep coming back as he's negating effects, which is pretty nice. I know this card here was banned at one point. I checked the list before making this, and I didn't see him there. I don't think he's banned anymore. Brionac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuners. You can discard any number of cards to remove the same number of cards from the field. So that's to the hand, so you could just you move them from the field back to the hand. So this is really nice. Either you can put stuff back in your opponent's hand, or you can put your own stuff back in your hand and just chain summon some other things out again. This, I believe, so we got Iron Chain Dragon next. He's just another good staple to have, I feel like. You can remove from play all Iron Chain monsters from your graveyard to have this card gain 200 attack for each card removed until the end phase. And then when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, and send the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. So that's what we'd be using this one for, is mostly to help mill out the opponent's deck, get rid of stuff so they don't need it. Next we got Soul of Silvermoutain. He's just XYZ 3 Earth, which is pretty nice because you got a lot of 3 Earths here. And then what this is, once per turn you can declare detach one of the XYZ materials from this card to target one set card in your opponent's spell and trap card zone. It cannot be activated while this card is face up on the field. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle while it has XYZ material, you can target one earth monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in face up defense position. So that's really nice to keep just bringing back those X-Sabers to keep that whole monster train coming. Next we got Steelswarm Roach, because it takes 2 level 4 monsters. And then during either player's turn, while a level 5 or higher monster would be special summoned, you can detach 1 material from him to negate that summon. So this will really help stop your opponent from being able to do so. And if you do, destroy it. So that's pretty handy. The next one is Chimera Fortress Dragon. This is not very useful unless you're facing a machine deck, but if you are facing a machine deck and they have Cyber Dragon, it's really good to be able to stop that. This monster cannot be used for fusion material monsters you control. Only special summon this card from your extra deck by give me a second here, I can't read that one upside down. You can only special summon this card from your extra deck by sending the above cards from either side of the field to the graveyard. You do not use polymerization. The original attack of this card is equal to 1,000 times the number of fusion monster materials used to special summon it. It takes Cyber Dragon and 1 or more machine type monsters, so when someone summons Cyber Dragon, you can take it out and make sure it's not a threat with this. Pretty nice. I have it in the deck because one of the people I typically play with does have a machine deck, and so that's what we have that one for. Next we got 2 XX-Saber Hyunleis. This is the card I was mentioning a little bit earlier. When this card is synchro summoned, you can select and destroy up to 3 spell or trap cards in the field. So what I'll do if there's a lot of trap cards or spell cards on the opponent's side of the field, I will synchro him. If I have desynchronization, I'll desync and then resynchro for him to be able to take out all of the spell and trap cards on the field that they might have, just to save myself the hassle of accidentally tripping something that's going to wipe my state if I attack. The last one that we have here is XX-Saber Gottoms. You contribute 1 X-Saber monster to discard a random card from your opponent's hand. So there again, like I said, the focus of this deck is mostly get those monsters out. With those monsters, just hit them hard. But most of the effects are either to make it so that you're safe if you fall behind, or you can wipe out their state pretty quickly. It's a fun little deck. I've always enjoyed playing it. Let me know if you guys have any questions regarding the deck or anything like that. But with that, that's pretty much the deck that I got for it. X-Sabers are fun. Let me know if there's any decks you guys want me to go over. I'll see what I can do about getting them and being able to review them for you guys. Even if I have to just look online and pull up a list of cards, if I personally don't have them. Next week we'll probably be doing Pokemon. As far as one of my Pokemon decks reviews concerned, I'm going to try to keep hitting all the different card games just so you guys can see a variety of stuff. If you don't play them, you can see interest. If you guys would like to join me on the 19th of March when the new Magic the Gathering set drops, it's the Time Spiral Remastered. I am planning on opening up a couple of the booster boxes and building some decks and playing with them and seeing what we could get and make, and then probably posting those decks later, so I'll have a video up either later that night or sometime in the day regarding those booster box openings. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. Like I said, if you have questions, just let me know. You guys have a fantastic night.